Hey, house guests! Welcome to today's Big Brother 27 updates and spoilers. It's eviction day! Yeah! I'm so excited for eviction day. I wish we could have like a double eviction tonight, or even a triple eviction would be awesome. Not necessarily for all the people on the block, but like some of the people that are already up there. Anyway, welcome. Hello to Cajun Reseller, Dawn, Jace, Wendy Collier, Mary, Maria, Aja, Good Taste, Amelia Bedelia is in the house. Thank you all so much for being here. Our house guests of the day, we have Hopa, we have Sheena US 48, aka Darren Chan. And Darren, I hope your dad is continuing to get better every day. And Jason M. Thank you all so much for the support. We could not do this without you guys, and we appreciate you all so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house kiss of the day, check out email us at madrosed@gmail.com and we will get you on the list. Just make sure you put house kiss of the day in the subject line and we'll get you on there. Hey, Catherine B's here. What's good? What's good? All right. So when we left off yesterday, it was Waffle Wednesday. Oh my goodness. So we have Ava, Catherine, and Kelly on the block. And as we discussed yesterday, Kelly was trying to come up with a plan to keep both her and Catherine safe. As long as Ava doesn't win the blockbuster competition, of course. That would require either Kelly or Catherine to win the comp. So here's what it looks like. You need 4 votes to force a tie this week. So Kelly asked Vince, would you send Ava home in a tie for either me or Catherine to stay? And Vince told her, yes, he would. Would he actually, though? Or is he just telling people what they want to hear? Because that's kind of like his MO, right? That's what he does every week. I don't think Vince is expecting a tie. I know he's not hoping for one, but I don't think he figures a tie would be very likely. So he is quick to make these promises when he doesn't think it's actually going to happen. Yeah. But for a tie to happen, Kelly would need to get 4 votes together, or Catherine. So she's counting up the potentials and she's like, all right, Keanu locked, Lauren locked. Either Catherine or Kelly, whichever one of them would come down with the blockbuster. That's number 3. And then Kelly is convinced that they can get Mickey and or Morgan on board to vote out Ava. We'll see about that. But Kelly was feeling really confident about it. She feels like Mickey is not as close to Ava as she previously thought. She feels like the connection there is just Ava's really close to, or sorry, Mickey's really close to Will, and Will is really close to Ava. So that's the only reason why Mickey would want to keep Ava. I mean, I think there's more to it than that, but anyway, Kelly and Keanu were chatting yesterday afternoon, and Kelly says, just so you know, I've got a pretty explosive goodbye speech planned. Oh, God, not explosive. So she says this would not be her pre-vote speech. This would be if she's actually evicted. She's going to say this before she leaves. So Keanu's like, well, you better leave enough time to give me a hug. You know, Keanu loves his hugs. So Kelly's like, well, this speech would be in lieu of hugs. I don't want hugs. Oh, so she's allowed to refuse hugs and it's okay. What a novel concept. But it was such a problem when Rachel didn't want a hug from her. I do think that people should be able to refuse hugs. It's just funny that Kelly is now saying she wouldn't want hugs when she made such a big stink about Rachel denying her. But she tells Keanu, if I hug you and I'm on my way out, I'm going to cry. She doesn't want to do that. She wants to make this crazy ass speech. So I have no idea what she's going to say. She hasn't been like practicing it or anything. We don't have any tidbits to work with here. But Kelly tells Keanu, I will understand if you want to vote with the house this week. And Keanu says he wouldn't do that. If Kelly is on the block, he is voting for her to stay. And Keanu says, I want to be loyal in this game. And he brings up how he betrayed Rachel this week by trying to get her on the block. Kelly says it doesn't count because it doesn't work. The betrayal doesn't count if the thing doesn't happen. What? I'm sorry, but it definitely counts. No, Keanu definitely betrayed Rachel this week. So Keanu says he could see that Rachel was really disappointed in him, and that hurt. He says it's literally the same way that I feel every time Vince does something like to me. So he says, for some reason, there's something inside me that tells me to keep trusting Vince, even though he keeps proving why I shouldn't. Is it the patriarchy? Because that's what it feels like sometimes. But he says, I knew exactly how Rachel felt when I betrayed her. And that is the worst thing that I have done in this game by far. Dang, this was actually a very interesting moment of reflection from Keanu. I feel like he genuinely does feel bad that he tried to get Rachel up on the block and then like kept lying about it. The question is though, would he do it again? Because I feel like Keanu in this game has kind of a short memory. He is quick to forget things from the past. I would not be surprised if he tried to betray again. I don't think that that's the last we'll see, but wouldn't it be interesting if this did make Keanu stay loyal to Rachel because he felt so guilty about his failed attempt at betraying her the first time? I don't know. So, meanwhile, Morgan and Rachel were whispering in the kitchen. And Morgan says Vince wants the judges to meet to talk about the vote, specifically about the Kelly versus Catherine scenario. So Morgan says, I know that we don't want Kelly in jury. And the reason for that is because they feel like Kelly is not going to be a good juror. She does not understand the game. They feel like she doesn't respect the game. She's not going to vote for the best player to win. She could poison the jury. They don't want Kelly anywhere near the jury. But Morgan says if Kelly wins HOH, I think she puts less of us judges up on the block. And Rachel agrees with this. She says, yeah, also something I was thinking about, Keanu could potentially have some sway over Kelly's nominations. And she's saying this like as if it's a good thing because Rachel's like, oh, well, if Keanu has sway over Kelly, maybe I have a little sway over Keanu. So that could be good for us. Maybe we could have a little bit of control there. I don't know. I think Kelly would do whatever the hell she wants to do if she won HOH. And I think that thing that she would want to do was target Rachel. But yeah, she says Keanu would not have any sway over Catherine's HOH. So we don't have as much control there. But Morgan says also Kelly would probably put Mickey up on the block, but Catherine wouldn't. So again, if Kelly is putting up Mickey, that's one less judge going on the block. So they like that. They think that's good. So Rachel and Morgan agree. As much as they don't want to do it, they think that they would have to keep Kelly if it's Kelly versus Catherine. However, if Ava's on that block, they're keeping Ava against anybody. So Rachel says at the end of the day, Catherine is way more connected in this house than Kelly. So she's going to have to go. They can't risk Catherine building up new alliances and becoming more powerful. Like Catherine is going to have way more of a chance to gain allies than Kelly. So interesting. Rachel and Morgan are both saying that they would want to keep Kelly and not Catherine. But we'll see what happens with that. A little later, Lauren and Vince are chatting in the HOH room. That was not a shady drink. I just needed water. But Lauren and Vince are chatting, and Lauren's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to vote this week. What's new? But Vince says, yeah, I don't know what to do either. He says, I was going to ask you how I should vote if it's a tie. These two are killing me. They really are. Just make a damn decision for once and stand by it. I will be shocked the day that we see either Lauren or Vince make a quick decision about something and stick by it. But Vince tells her about how Kelly is trying to get a fourth vote to force a tie against Ava. But Vince is like, I don't see it happening. I don't think she's going to get that fourth vote. I don't think it's going to be a tie. He says it seems like whoever is up against Ava would go home. And he says, I don't know though what's going to happen if it's Catherine versus Kelly on the block. And he says, if it's a tie, I'm going to do what you want. because I'm the one that put us in this position and I want you to make the decision. That's like Lauren's worst nightmare. Being told, I want you to make the decision. Lauren's head would explode. But Vince, during this conversation, asks Lauren, so do you have like a final three with Ava and Catherine? Because Ashley swears that you do. Ashley has been saying this. She's been clocking that. And Lauren's like, we don't. I mean, technically they don't yet. It has not been solidified yet, but there have been multiple conversations, amongst this group of three, Lauren, Catherine, and Ava, about how they want to work together if the three of them survive this eviction. So that alliance has already been clocked before it's even been solidified. And Lauren is like lying about it to Vince here. Interesting. I think Lauren is realizing she can't fully entrust her game to Vince the way that she maybe would have a few weeks ago, because Vince has now gone against her preferences multiple times and like made her game harder. So I think she's realizing I need to build some stuff outside of Vince, right? So Vince is also encouraging Lauren to hang out with Morgan more. He wants his two ladies to get along and they can all work together. And Lauren says, I have been trying. I've been trying to hang out with Morgan more, but she feels like Morgan doesn't like her. And she's correct about that. No, Vince admits, yeah, Morgan, she's a little skeptical of you because you did vote to evict her last week. She's having a hard time with that. I keep saying, like, get over it. But yeah, Morgan is not happy about that. I mean, that's a huge one, but like there's other things too. Morgan cannot stand Lauren's indecisiveness. Also, I think Lauren can't stand it, or Morgan can't stand it, that Lauren is also close to Vince. She wants Vince to herself. She wants to be the first lady of the HOH. So back to the vote. Lauren says she just isn't sure that she can vote for Catherine to go if Catherine is still up on the block. They agree that out of the three nominees this week, Ava is the worst for both of their games. Vince has a pretty strong inkling that if Ava were to win HOH, she'd probably put him back up on the block. He also doesn't like that Ava is being carried to Final Five. I mean, is she the most active gamer? No. But I mean, she had a very impactful HOH, so I wouldn't say she's just being carried. But she's been a part of a lot of big moves, actually, like switching votes and influencing. I mean, she was a huge part of Adrian going home, right? So she has had a lot of impact on this game, but in between these big moves, she's kind of just napping, right? But like she's not being carried to Final Five. But yeah, he does say it seems like Ava will be staying no matter who she's up against, unless somebody decides to flip their vote. So Lauren's just like, I don't want to be on the wrong side of the vote again. It's not a good feeling. So even if that means voting out one of her friends, she's got to decide, do I want to keep my friend here or do I want to vote for my friend even if I know she's going to go, or do I go with the house to protect my butt? She's got to make that decision. So a little later, Lauren is chatting with Ashley in the train bedroom. You cannot make this up. So they're talking about the votes. And they don't realize that Ava is lying down in her top bunk. And she's awake. She's awake. The freaking bunk beds strike again. I mean, this happened a few weeks ago. She overheard, I believe it was Ashley and Mickey talking that time. This time it's Lauren and Ashley. And it's like directly about Ava. So this conversation, Ashley is saying, if it is Ava versus Catherine up on the block, Ashley says, I'm closer to Ava. I have more mutuals with her, which felt very social media mutuals. She says, Catherine has only really just started talking game with me. And she says, I do believe the stuff that Catherine tells me, but like she's never talked game with me before. So it's all very new. So Ashley is making it known that she would like Ava to stay. So I'm sure Ava's like, but Ashley is then asking Lauren, how do you feel? And Lauren says, well, I feel like I can trust Catherine. Obviously, I'm very close with her, right? They're like besties. Lauren says, I just don't see myself voting Catherine out if she's on the block. And she says, I do think that Catherine would have the votes to stay against Kelly. That's an easy one, right? Kelly and Catherine stays. But Lauren says, when it comes to Ava, that's really, really hard. Ava's like, she says, I feel really close to Ava, but I'm really close to Catherine too. Keep in mind, Lauren has a final two deal with Ava. I think she probably has one with Catherine too. I don't even remember at this point, but she definitely has one with Ava. And again, Ava is in the room with them and she is awake and she is listening. Lauren doesn't know that. But Lauren says, I don't know where the votes would go. It could potentially come down to a tie. I don't want to be on the wrong side of the vote. So essentially, Ava is hearing that Lauren is not as reliable as she thought she was. She can't rely on her as much. And Lauren might be voting her out if she stays up on the block. Yikes. So after this conversation breaks up, Ashley and Lauren leave. Ava's looking at the camera like, she says, I'm awake. And then Ava starts counting out her theoretical votes. I don't think she realized how close this vote could potentially be. So she's like, all right, I have Morgan, Ashley, Rachel, Will. She says, Vinny would break a tie in my favor. Would he? I don't know. Girl, this is your sign to get on the campaign trail just to make sure you have these votes. She doesn't really do that though. Even after this wake up call, she doesn't really do much campaigning throughout the rest of the night. But Lauren walks back in the room and Ava is pretending to be asleep. And Lauren notices her there. And in that moment, Lauren probably downloaded in her pants. She was shocked to see that Ava was in there. So she pretends to she wakes Ava up. Ava pretends to be like, oh, what's going on? I was asleep. So after Lauren leaves again, Ava's like, well, this was awkward. So after all that, Lauren goes up to the HOH room to talk to Vince, and Lauren is freaking the freak out. She's realizing, oh my God, Ava was in the room during my conversation with Ashley, and I don't even remember what I said. I don't know if I said anything bad. I don't know. Did I say I was going to vote her out? I don't know. Lauren says, I can't believe I just did that. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Also, it was extra crazy too, because the way that they were sitting, Ashley was sitting on one of the lower bunks. Ava is up here diagonally, and Lauren is sitting there facing Ashley. She's looking at the bunk beds and she didn't see Ava in the top one. That's wild. So Lauren isn't sure if Ava was awake during that whole conversation. She doesn't know if she heard anything. She definitely did. But Vince is reassuring her it's gonna be okay. We'll know if Ava heard if she starts asking me about a potential tie. I mean, Ava should be asking him about a potential tie anyway. That's just doing your due diligence. But also, Ava is not huge on campaigning, which is, it is what it is, as Ava says. But no, it's actually very irritating as a viewer. I want to see people campaign to stay. So, in other news, Kelly and Mickey are chatting in the have not room. Is this the big conversation where Kelly convinces Mickey to vote out Ava? We've been waiting for it, right? So Kelly says, I don't want to sound cocky, but I do think out of the three nominees, I have the best chance to win the blockbuster competition. Mickey says, yes, I think so too. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Kelly has been very good in these blockbusters. She stays very calm. She's good at puzzles. I think she's got a great shot to win the blockbuster. So Kelly asks Mickey, would you keep Ava over Catherine in that scenario if I do win the blockbuster? And Mickey says, probably. But then she's like, I don't know. I have to talk to Will. She says, I know what I want to do, but sometimes in this game, you have to do what's better for the people around you. Oh, Mickey. So Mickey says, that's where I'm at right now. I'm stuck. Even if it's not something I want to do, I might have to do something else for the benefit of others. So Mickey does tell Kelly, I want you here, though. all that being said, I have to mention, I believe Mickey has also promised Catherine to her face that she would keep her in any scenario. So she's basically taking a page out of Vince's playbook at this point. Tell everyone what they want to hear, and then whatever happens, just apologize later. That's pretty much what she's doing, right? So Kelly says, "You and I have the same goal of not sitting next to Rachel at the end." And Kelly says, "I can take that shot for you." Rachel's mean to me. She's mean. So Mickey tells Kelly, just focus on the blockbuster competition, do your thing. But then Kelly starts talking more about how Rachel hurt her deeply. It wasn't just like pettiness. She says this goes back to like stuff from her childhood. Oh my God. Come on. It's not that serious. It's really not. I'm sure like she had to go through a lot as a kid, and I feel for her on that. But like the Rachel thing really was not that serious. Um, yeah. It doesn't seem like from this conversation, Kelly is getting Mickey on board to vote out Ava. So anyway, Catherine was having some conversations last night too. She was talking to Rachel at one point, and Catherine says, "I just want to make sure that we're good." So she asks Rachel, "What are you thinking for the vote? Like, do you feel comfortable telling me?" So Rachel says, "Yeah, if it's between you and Kelly, I want you to stay." Conveniently, no mention of what she would do if it's between Ava and Catherine. But I think we know that Rachel would vote Catherine out and keep Ava. So Rachel tells Catherine, "I would love for us to start a relationship in here. I'm not naive. I know if you win HOH, of course, there's a chance I'm going to go up on the block." I mean, let's be real. She put Riley up there. Riley's gone. So Rachel knows, like, they're not going to have a 100% cool relationship, but she wants something. And Catherine says, "I do have some other considerations if I win HOH." Does she, though? I mean, I know she wants Mickey out also, but like, I feel like Rachel's target number one for Catherine. So Rachel's like, "Ooh, that's really exciting to hear. I'm glad that you are looking at some other people, maybe not necessarily me." So they do agree they want to have a relationship in the game. Yeah, the relationship is, please vote to keep me. And then we'll go from there. So Catherine's like, "I hope that I will be here to see it through, and we can really build something." And she tells Rachel, "If you can see me being more beneficial for your game, keep me." She says, "It feels right now like I'm on the block with two different extremes. One of the nominees is extremely likable, liked by everyone in the house, but is a threat sitting next to anyone on the block." Who do you think she's talking about? Pretty sure it's Ava. And then she says, "The other nominee next to me is kind of a wild card and kind of a threat to everyone, Kelly." She says, "I don't even know where her head is at half the time." I don't know that anybody does. But Catherine says, "I kind of feel like I'm in the middle between those two extremes. So I think I could be beneficial to people's games compared to those two." So she's trying. She's getting out there. She's campaigning a little bit. But Ava was really going through it last night. And when I say going through it, I mean emotionally, not campaign wise. But she was talking to Will in the have not room, and she's talking about how she's nervous to leave this house when the time comes. She's like, "Of course, I'd be sad about not winning," but that's not really what she's freaking out about. She's saying, like, "I've adjusted to living in the Big Brother house. It's almost like a Stockholm syndrome thing. Like, she's enjoying it there. She feels comfortable there." And she's like, "I've been gone from home for like 2 months already." She's nervous about life being different after Big Brother's over. I can't imagine how weird that must feel to be closed off from everything for months and then like to go home and like find out what you missed. Like, dynamics have changed with your family and friends. I don't know. I really hope that Big Brother does give them the resources that they need after the show. I know they have someone they can talk to during the season, but I hope that they have something set up for everybody after too, because I just can't imagine how tough that must be. But Will is reassuring her it's going to be okay. Home is going to be home. I mean, there's definitely things that are different, I think, when you go home, but I will say, like, I mean, it's what you make of it, right? I mean, there's definitely some things that will change. You have a lot more people looking at you on social media, but like if you want to have a private life, you can have a private life for the most part, I think, right? I mean, I've seen plenty of Big Brother players just kind of like slink back into the shadows after. You don't have to like go to all the events and everything. But yeah, she's really nervous. I hope everybody's going to be okay after the season's over. But Big Brother was feeling generous or mischievous last night. They gave the house guests alcohol at like 11 p.m. the night before an eviction. Surprising. Um, yeah, but anyway, the have-nots also got to eat at midnight. So Morgan, Ashley, and Will, they were very happy about that. Very happy to be off of slop. And I'm wondering if the reason they gave them alcohol, now this might be a little bit of a stretch, but there was one point last night where Morgan goes into the HOH room and Vince is like having a hard time keeping his eyes open because Vince and Morgan have been staying up until like 5 a.m. for like multiple days in a row. It's a lot. So Vince is like having a hard time staying awake. Morgan, I guess she just had like coffee or tea and like probably not a lot of food. She was bouncing off the walls. Like she was speaking on like fast forward mode. Will had his little DVR remote and he was fast forwarding through Morgan. Like she was like, blah, 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 I'm so hyper. Blah, blah, blah. So she was also talking about how like what a fun drunk she is and blah blah blah. Do you guys think that Big Brother was trying to like push something there with Vince and Morgan? Because a lot of people have been noticing that Vince and Morgan have been getting very close, very touchy feely. I don't know. But it's just odd that they would give them alcohol that late in the evening and like the night before an eviction. I don't know. But I will also say, I have heard on the BB streets that some people are like creating burner accounts and basically like harassing Vince's girlfriend in real life. And I think that's really messed up. And I think that people need to get a grip and leave the house guests, loved ones, family members, friends, leave them alone. Just leave them alone. It's too much. But anyway, moving on. So the Judges Alliance did not meet up last night to discuss the vote. What do you guys do? Why does this alliance, why do none of these alliances ever meet up to actually like talk about important things? So judges did not meet up, but Mickey and Lauren did chat a bit about the vote. Mickey had pointed out Ava's a number for Rachel, so if we want to weaken Rachel, maybe we take out Ava. And she was suggesting that the votes could potentially be there to make that happen. So again, who knows if Mickey is actually being serious about that or if she's just again telling people what they want to hear and just covering all of her bases. But Rachel was getting sketched out by Mickey. She definitely noticed that Mickey was spending a lot of time with Catherine and Lauren the last few days. She was telling Vince and Morgan about it. And Rachel's wondering, would Mickey flip on Ava? Man, Rachel is good. She is so good at this game, so observant. Morgan is pretty confident that Mickey would keep Ava. She's just kind of like doing her Mickey stuff where again, she's playing like Vince. She's over promising. She's telling people what they want to hear, but she does think in the end Mickey would keep Ava. We'll see. But today, Lauren and Vince were chatting and talking about the vote, and Vince says he does not want to have to break a tie today. So they go through the different possible scenarios, and Vince says, all right, I think Ava stays against anyone. I think she has the votes. And he says, Mickey and Morgan, they're going to vote to keep Ava. So that's like pretty much done. He says if it's Kelly versus Catherine, Catherine will probably stay. And Lauren agrees with this. She thinks that Catherine would be safe in that scenario. But Lauren says, I'm not sure how I'm going to vote if it's Catherine versus Ava up on the block because she says, I don't think that Catherine has the votes to stay, but she also doesn't want to vote against her. So she doesn't know if she should like give her friend a vote anyway, show her, I care about you, I'm giving you this vote, or if she should vote with the house to try to protect her game. I don't know. She might have to make that decision tonight. We'll see. But there was some last minute vote chatter before the feeds went down for the rest of the pre-show stuff. So Morgan was still trying to convince her allies right up until the end to keep Kelly over Catherine. But they just don't seem into it at this point. I guess Morgan's argument is just not strong enough. I think also people are just really sick of Kelly. They really don't want to risk Kelly being in the jury house. So Vince says he doesn't care, right? He just doesn't want a tie either way. He doesn't want to have to break that tie. So yeah, the Blockbuster competition tonight. One of them will be coming off the block, and we did get a preview on Instagram of what this competition is going to be. So basically, each nominee will have like a ramp, and they have to use 4 planks to set up their course for a ball to roll down from the top down to this like jewelry case, which is the final resting spot. Oh, I think it's supposed to be like a precious jewel, like a precious pearl. Ava Pearl, that's a sign. Ava Pearl needs to win. But yeah, they have to set up their planks so that the ball will land in the jewelry case. It's almost like a pinball kind of thing, but you're going down. You don't want to keep the ball up. So yeah, I mean, it's anybody's game. I do think that Kelly would probably be the strongest in this, but like you never know what's going to happen. Anybody could win. And again, as it stands right now, it would appear that Ava would be safe in any scenario, but you never know what could happen. And then if it's Kelly versus Catherine, it looks like Kelly would probably be going, unless Morgan is able to like really get to people at the last minute. If Kelly stays, I think it would be because of Morgan's campaigning, but we'll see. So I want to thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate you. And I also want to thank our super chatters. We couldn't do this without you guys. Okay. Shane Wright, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate you as always. Benjamin, thank you so much. Benjamin wants to know, who do you think will win Blockbuster? I'm leaning towards Kelly just because she is so like cool, calm, and collected, but it really could be anybody. And who is your season winner pick? I'd love to see Rachel win. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I would love to see it. I mean, I think she's in a great spot right now. If she can get to a certain point in the game, get out some of these other like big competitors, strong competitors, I think she could win her way out to the end because she is a good competitor. But she has to make it to a certain point for that to happen. So I don't know. I would love to see Rachel win. That's what I'll say. And Benjamin also says, I think if Kat goes tonight, Morgan has a great shot to win the season. I do think that Morgan is also a contender. I mean, here's my thing with Morgan. I think she is going to become a target at some point, but it's like a question of will she be able to win some competitions to save herself? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think she would probably be better off if Vince were to leave and then people maybe wouldn't look at her as much. I don't know. It's interesting to think about, but I do think that Morgan is a contender. Connor Benson, thank you so much. Connor says a little gossip from outside the BB house. Vince's girlfriend isn't too happy with him and the flirting with Morgan. I do feel bad for everyone involved. It's messy. I feel bad too, especially like I said earlier, people are like harassing his girlfriend, which is so not okay. But I did see she mentioned she did not give Vince permission to flirt with people as strategy. So like, because I remember Vince saying like, "Oh yeah, I cleared everything first." Like she said, "Do whatever it takes to win." It would appear that that's not the case. I feel so bad for her having to watch all this unfold. It is very messy. And again, please guys do not reach out to house guests, family and friends because it's really weird. Don't do it. And Connor also says, hey, hear me out, guys. If Catherine stays, I'd actually like if her and Rachel worked together and took some shots at Vince, Mickey, and Morgan. That would be pretty entertaining. I would like to see Catherine actually play this game outside of Riley's shadow because I do think that she has some pretty good instincts potentially. I think she could be a good player. Unfortunately, she spent the first half of the game hanging out with Riley, right? So that is a huge setback. But I do think she could possibly stay for a while if she can make it through tonight, but she's also in deep doo-doo tonight if, Kelly wins the blockbuster, so we'll see what happens. But thank you all so much for being here. I really, really appreciate you. I know a few of you guys were mentioning that where did it go? Oh, a few of you guys mentioned that Taryn gave me a shout out last night on his live stream. I really, really appreciate that. That is so kind. It's great to get some support from a fellow live feeds updater. So thank you to Taryn. Keep doing your thing. And all of our fellow Big Brother commentary people, you guys are amazing. It's really a wonderful community. So thank you all so much for being here. I will see you tonight for the episode recap. And until then, much love. Bye. Bye, everybody.